Hi, today we are going to be talking about multiplying a decimal by a whole number. So at this point, you should be very proficient in reading numbers, identifying the categories, maybe comparing which one's bigger or smaller, adding and subtracting. So we've really learned a lot about decimals so far. So now we're going to talk about how do you multiply a decimal by a whole number. So let's start off very simple, and I'm just going to get a tenth. And this says 4/10, and I want to multiply it by 3. So 4/10 taken 3 times, or 4/10 times 3. So what that means is I need to get 3 sets of 4/10. Easy enough. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this says 4/10, but this is only taken one time. So I need to get another set of 4/10. 1, 2, 3, and 4. But my number's 3, so I now need a third set of 4/10. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now I'm ready to multiply. I put them all together. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, what I have to do is trade in 10 of these. My next biggest category is a unit. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would trade these in for a unit bead. Now I don't have my beads with me, so I'm just going to put a 1 here in the unit category. And then I see that I have 2/10 left over. So even though I had 12/10, and I see what looks like the number 12, because there's this decimal point, I read this 1 and 2/10. That is my answer. Now something I want you to look at is that the category of this number did not change. Even though we had to carry over, and now we have a unit when we did before. This is still the same, 1 and 2/10. Let's look at another one. This time we'll add some hundredths in it. Let's take, let's do 43 hundredths taken 4 times. So 43 hundredths taken 4 times, that means that we are going to make 43 hundredths 4 sets of times. So I'll start with my hundredths. I'm going to take, if I look at this, I can pull them into their categories. My smaller category is the hundredths, and you always do the smallest category first. So I'm going to take my hundredths 4 times. So here's 3 hundredths once, twice, 3 times, and 4 times. I'll actually move this down here like that. So now I come down, and my tenths is my bigger category. So I take 4/10 4 times. So here's 4/10 once, 4/10 twice, 3 times coming up, and one last set of 4/10. So now we see that I have 43 hundredths taken 4 times. Here's 1 set, 2, 3. This is why we always double check. I had forgotten one. Here and here. 43. That guy fell over. Okay. So now we're ready to multiply. You may know that 4 times 3 is 12 because maybe you've memorized your times tables by now. But if you didn't, we can combine these. And then trade in every set of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is where, if it were 12, I'd write the 2, and I'm going to carry the 1 right here. So now 4 times 4. Now I happen to know my times tables. I know that 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 more would be 17. But let's count these up to check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll trade that in for a unit. I'll just put this here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be 17. So I have 2 hundredths in my answer. And I carried my 1. 4 times 4 was 16, plus 1 more was 17. So I wrote my 7 and I carried my 1. And I bring that down, and my answer says 1 and 72 hundredths. So let's see what that would look like on paper. So we will take the same problem, 43 hundredths times 4. Now, if we're just looking at the math problem, again, you always start with your smallest category. 4 times 3 is 12. Write the 2, carry your 1. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. 4 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. My decimal point comes down. Now, if you notice over here, my problem started in the hundredths, and the category stayed in the hundredths. 1 and 72 hundredths. So this is something that you can do. I find that if you do not have your times tables memorized, I would do a whole sheet multiplied by the same whole number and only change your decimals to be different numbers. That way, you're sort of getting a 2-for-1 deal where you're practicing multiplying with decimals, but you're also memorizing your times tables. So this is how you multiply a decimal times a whole number.